I didn't even know at the time if my mom was dead or alive, because I didn't know if 5 minutes after the picture was taken they were shot dead. I had to wait for hours until the army got to the house and told us no one was there. And then the next day they found my eldest brother's body near his house. We've been going through endless pain and agony.
Families of hostages taken by Hamas during the October 7th attacks have told Sir Keir Starmer they hold him personally responsible for the lives of British citizens still held captive, as family members warn Brits of an Islamist war on Western civilisation. Steve Brisley, Ayelet Svatitzky and Sharone Lifschitz said the government must do more, and the welfare of British citizens are the responsibility of the British government.
In this situation, it's not enough not to make mistakes. You have to take decisive action. To my mind, that includes really recognizing that you have here British citizens. So the responsibility is very directly with the government. I hold the Prime Minister responsible for the life of these hostages. I know that it's complex, I know that it is, but I want a different thinking, and thinking that it really acknowledges that the United Kingdom has hostages.
As the year anniversary of the October 7th attacks approaches, Ayelet Svatizky told of her family's torment at the hands of Hamas, who kidnapped her mother and killed her two brothers.
My mom just turned 80. Sharon's parents are over 80. They were held in the tunnels. My brother, they released a video of him with a black eye, saying that he was dead. They have done everything in their power to torment us. Even after it has been, my brother's been pronounced dead, even after we've buried him, they continue to release videos, including my brother's picture in them. So if anyone thinks that the personal torture that I'm going through has ended when my brother was brought to burial, then no, they keep torturing us to this day. They've tortured my mom emotionally. Physically, they just held her in the tunnels with very little food, no hygiene, water in brown water in cans. So I don't need to call them any names, or I don't need to label them. I think every human should hear those stories and decide for themselves what kind of I can't even, I'm sorry, I find it difficult to call them people.
Families feared the impact on already weak hostages as the threat of war in Lebanon lingered. Sharone Lifschitz, whose parents were taken hostage and her father remains in Hamas captivity, said time was running out for hostages and called on the Israeli PM to broker a deal to bring them home.
Even of the Jewish Israelis, there's a solid majority of people that believe that the hostages will only come back in a deal and wish for that deal and ask for the Prime Minister deal. My message to them is to listen to the people of Israel and get that deal about.
Ayelet Svatizky worries the world is excusing the terror rained on civilians by Hamas and other Islamist organisations, yet says their cruelty is there for all to see.
They're a terrorist organisation, okay? They've proved their cruelty. They've brought custody to the world, okay? I was on the phone with my mum when she was taken. So I called her and I heard, she picked up, and then I heard men voices in the background, and as they walked into her house, and the next thing I hung up, and the next thing they send me the pictures, the two pictures of my mum and my brother sat in my mum's living room, and underneath that it said Hamas. So they took her phone, took the pictures and sent them to me on WhatsApp. And the third picture with a gunman standing in the corner with a Kalashnikov, they've uploaded to her Facebook story through her phone's app. They were proud of what they were doing. I mean, they were showing it to everyone. I know people who know me who saw the picture on the Facebook story and wanted to know what was happening, and I didn't even know at the time if my mom was dead or alive, because I didn't know if 5 minutes after the picture was taken they were shot dead. I had to wait for hours until the army got to the house and told us no one was there, and then the next day they found my eldest brother's body near his house. We've been going through endless pain and agony. And then, crazy as it may seem to others, and I understand, I'm lucky to have answers. So my brother was murdered, but I know that, and I have his body back, and I go to bury him. The torture and the worry before we even knew what was happening, and thinking of him in the tunnels for another day, another week, another month, and people are there for a year. People are there for a year. I can't wrap my head around it. It's just inhumane.
Ayelet says Brits must wake up to the threat of Islamism, warning she made a painful mistake in dismissing the threat and paid the price with the lives of her dearest loved ones.
The UK had their share of terrorist attacks. They know what we're up against, and I fear that if people don't wake up and see reality as it is, it'll happen again, because this war, it's not against Israel, and it's not just against the Jews, okay? There's an agenda here, and once they're done with us, okay, God forbid, they'll move on. And I think if people really want to get it, they need to understand the agenda, because it's Israel first. It's not only Israel. So what's next? And who's next? And I think people need to learn more and understand what all of us are up against, because at the end of the day, we need to understand we're all in this together.
Kind of the suggestion there is that you very much see this as almost a war against Western civilization.
I believe all of these terrorist organizations are Iranian proxies. Most of those organizations are not very shy about their beliefs. We need to listen. I've interpreted things my way, and I've learned a painful lesson. And I've lost 2 brothers.
Keir Starmer told the families in a speech, "I want you to know, as your Prime Minister, that every single word you have said to me this morning has been hugely impactful and will be thought by me over and over again, as it should be. I will do everything to keep alive the memory of those who were killed and to bring the hostages home." The King and Queen also told families, "Their Majesties have asked us to convey that they continue to keep you and all hostage families in their special thoughts and offer their prayers for your strength and endurance during such a dreadfully difficult and agonising time for you." Despite their pleading, Benjamin Netanyahu launched a ground invasion into Lebanon just hours after the families met with Keir Starmer.
The Israel Defense Forces is conducting limited and targeted raids along Israel's northern border against the threat Hezbollah poses to civilians in northern Israel. These localized ground raids will target Hezbollah strongholds that threaten Israeli towns, kibbutzim, and communities along our border. Hezbollah turned Lebanese villages next to Israeli villages into military bases, all ready for an attack on Israel. Hezbollah had prepared to use those villages as staging grounds for an October 7th style invasion into Israeli homes.
The impact this will have on the lives of the hostages is unknown, but Sharone Lifschitz articulated families' ultimate fears as the period of captivity drew on.
We know that they don't have time. We fear for their lives. We fear for what happened when Hamas doesn't think they are their diamonds, but think that they might be a liability. We want a guarantee by the British government that they are indeed seeing the hostages with close British link and those with British citizenship as their problem.
For now, war rages, and the body count on all sides continues to mount. Nicholas Dunning, Adam Chapman, GB News.